Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show Trading Idea with SMARTRobie. I'm your host, Martin Wong. As we delve deeper to the second half of the year, we did have a KLCI rebalancing last week. That's what we saw. The market really went straight up, but this morning it has turned back downwards. That's right. And it's down, down almost 2 points this morning in here. We have some stocks going up in here, and that's looking pretty interesting to see how would the market actually, going forward with this rebalancing of the market. Would we see a continuation of a downtrend, or will we see those rebalancing of the KLCI component doing better? That's right. So let's follow with what the news we have for you this morning in our breakfast show in here. Now, of course, today is Monday, so Monday generally we will be doing our beginners level, but let's not forget of our stock trade idea campaign, which is still ongoing. As you can see, we are giving away an iPad campaign, so make sure you submit, and more information of those are available from your mail notification, which you can check on the inbox. We have a lot of great winners, and you can see up here as we continue to flash and encourage you to submit your best stock or trade idea, and you will possibly get a 50 ringgit Grab voucher. That's right. So let's move on to the beginner level, and we'll be looking at trading idea on the Pentagon Guider. Now for KLSE market headline this morning, definitely we'll be looking at the respective consumer spending. That's right. As we all know, the news that we've been getting in with the likelihood of Parliament reconvening earlier. So there's been a lot of talks whether this market will really boost up, or with the more COVID cases that we are seeing, will we go straight down? Now we can see from UK, with the continuing of the Delta variant, we are seeing the economy shutting down even longer. But in US, where the vaccine rollout, it's all going to be depends on how fast we can get the vaccine rollout. I think the current government is aware of this, and they're doing whatever it can to resuscitate the economy that you see. But right now, the KLCI, let me just show you this morning in here and bring it up to our market, switch on to a wider chart. So you can see right now where we are, we have this is V Solar continue to be the biggest. We have MMG, MPay, Itronics, Vitrox, Airport, MPI. So some of the tech sectors are in play, but you can look from the KLCI right at this point. You can see we do have a nice green pentagon, but this morning it was down, but right now I think it recovered a bit. And let's take a look at the market right now. And what is the, okay, it's down 18 points. Okay, down 18 points. You can see it from down, it's down 1%. So will this eventually turn the KLCI towards the down market? So we will see. We'll see. Right now, market is slightly bullish based on last Friday. That's right. But right now we are seeing this sell-off in here. Will it continue in here? But do take note of the green pentagon that it has turned. In many ways, our market is caught in a sideways market. That's right. And you can see also in US, the Dow Jones, which we'll be talking about shortly, is going through a correction phase as the news of the inflation continue to hawk the headline that we've seen so far. And rightly so. In this news article, which is in this morning Star, continue to talk about consumer spending in here are on track for recovery, and they have a couple of good picks in here. One of them were Leong Hap, which is upgraded a buy call. So let's take a look at Leong Hap. So let's switch to wider chart here, LHI. Okay, and that is actually a poultry maker. And let's take a look at the chart. So you can see Leong Hap actually has a red pentagon. So we still have to wait for the green pentagon if should you want to buy anything. But having said that, there's a 2 double top and the market continue to move sideways in here. So this pretty much hasn't has much of a trend. Well, right now I think it's pretty good support to buy around just above the 70 cents, or you want to wait for the green pentagon. But whatever you do take a look at the market setup first, during the support level to buy, and this will be likely a trading stock. Having said, the other one that have downgraded is Power Roots. We will look at Power Roots too. PWROOT here. Right, let's take a look at the chart wise. And you can see from the chart in here, whoa, look at that one, right? The market, right? But the downgrade came a bit late, isn't it, right? By this analyst. You could see on the chart wise, 18th of April, power roads continue to break down from 180 to 130. That's almost a 50% drop. But right now, we did have a line change previously, but Green Pentagon hasn't come out yet. So again, going back to when you want to buy power roads, buy on bad news, which is right now, the downgrade is already been downgraded. So whoever wanted to sell, they should have sell now. And it's more a recover from here. Of course, the top pick continued to be Mr. DIY. Let's take a look at Mr. DIY too. And here we go, Mr. DIY. So far, let's take a look at the chart. And of course, at the end of this session, so don't go away, we will also look at some of the charts that you have. So Mr. DIY here continued to congest, hitting 423.50 in here. Huge volume last week. Will this buy call, right, which is a top pick here, what we call gravity defying growth, okay? Gravity defying growth. And when you say something gravity defying growth, I tend to feel very sketchy about all this. The PE is 52, and that is probably because of ROE at 34% in here. That's why they like it in here. Of course, my favorite fundamental pick will still be GCB, which is cocoa. And cocoa, this exporter over the world in here. Let's take a look at the chart. And I think the chart was quite a nice setup here the other day. That's right, the Green Pentagon somewhere just on the early June, and right now it's about 280. And let's take a look at the fundamentals too. This is one of the really fundamental stocks that I like. It's giving out a 2%, a 1.2% dividend with a ROE of 15. Still relatively inexpensive compared to the sector, which is 50 times. This is only 16 PE. So that's pretty much tell you very well. Of course, my news at Berjaya, you can check a look. Take a look at those at your time. When you have time, check out the SmartRobie. Let's move on to our next news. Now, our next news will focus on what we call inflation risk. Many have said before what we are seeing in US, and also there was also a report on the plywood asset prices has gone up. But this is more on the asset property that we've seen previously way back in the GFC, the global financial crisis, what causes the market to collapse. But having said that, if you trace way back to 2015, the house price index has certainly gone fairly down. From 10% growth, we are shrinking to almost less than 0.5% of a price growth. So for those of you who are heavily into the property, would have felt the pinch. I know I do. I have one or two properties, and I find out the prices has come down such a way that we wanted to exit. And in many ways, I think the low risk inflation in Malaysia is pretty good if you're a first time house buyer. So what you should do is continue to invest in the stock. Okay, in the stock, property market will be a very interesting challenges. Of course, I think the REITs market does present it, and definitely one of my favorite pick is Exits REITs for being the exposure to the e-commerce. And I think I've talked about this also in the on our master class for that one. So check it out, that one in here. So all in all, property prices will continue to be a challenge going ahead. So a lot of those what we call the property sectors like Echo International, which have gone up a fair bit, but I think profit taking will pretty much set in place. Let's so EWINT. Okay, and you can see from here, right, this one has picked up a lot. All right, so on the chart wise, it's pretty decent. And let's take a look at this morning. What is the stock price? And has it gone up or down? It's down minus 1.6%, as you can see on my chart on the right hand side here. All right, let's move on to the another so-called industrial sector, which is taxing in here. Watch out for this counter because it has good support and a Green Pentagon, and it's talking about building a new facility to cater to the growth on the PVC flooring product. A lot of the PVC, these are the very strong kind of odor that you get. Okay, let's take a look at taxing. TEK. Okay, DEK, right? Texting from a chart wise in here. So Texting does gives you a nice base that it had. This is a pretty decent base, and take note on the right hand side, 25th of May, anytime when the market surge up followed by a very long tail, you can see on the right hand side the upthrust, then the market will definitely turn back down in here. So that's usually the case that we see. Upthrust has one of those very strong sign of weakness, and the market suddenly turn on just that one bar. You can see the UT bar in here. Right now PVC flooring in here does have a good base, and let's take a look at the fundamentals. What sort of fundamentals is Texting giving us? And Texting is it's rated a 7. Interesting enough, it has a ROE of 13%. A PE is very low, actually a 7% PE in here, and pay a 1.7. So for being a small cap stocks, this is definitely one of the good company to look at, and it has a very decent dividend in here, 1.7, but it is a very low cap. Remember, it's only 200 million. So usually when you get this kind of low cap stocks, a lot of the institutional will avoid it because of illiquidity. Now you can get in, but you cannot get out. So in short, this stock remain to be interesting stock to look at, right? Watch out for these stocks, right? For being a very good FA rating. All right. Let's move on to our US market in here. Now, a lot been said. Let's switch to the US market, and let me just switch to US market. Hit the S&P, and we'll just want to show you the chart where it is right now. The Dow Jones has corrected a fair bit, and a lot has been last week, over the weekend, been talked about the inflation that continue to hit new high, and there is a early of raising interest rate. Previously, people are talking about 2024. Now they're talking about 2023. So as that, many people are turning bullish on the US market being inflated. But don't forget, this is also, the inflation is rising because of the recovery in the US market. So eventually, all the news has been absorbed, right? This market should push up. Now, inflation is definitely a double-edged sword. We have to look into that many ways in that one. But if it is because of the better economic recovery, prices are going up, then that's definitely is good. It's not because of too much what we call asset bubble. That we are not seeing the asset bubble. Definitely how asset prices are rising in terms of property, and also in stock market in US that is rising, but compared to the Malaysian, which I've just shown you, Malaysia are still pretty much in a downtrend in here. So having said that, if you take a look at where we have for the S&P 500, it is also pricing this news in markets to the Fed. It is a hawkish turn, which means a lot of things are turning, and that's why you see the red pentagon that we see. So right now, I think the US market, with the exception of the NASDAQ, the last 2 days, we have seen the 10-year treasury yield continue to push up. But all things broader market, I think it will point to a correction. It's just that, in my opinion, NASDAQ has been, tailgating the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. S&P 500 had hit a new high, but the NASDAQ hasn't. So NASDAQ in many ways are playing catch up, and that's what we see. Apple and some of the other stocks has just turned green. Will it eventually turn? I would think so. But we have to see the interest rate. How is the interest rate panning out in here? Because there is possibility. Many of the analysts are looking into the Fed, US FOMC tightening monetary policy, which means rather than buying at the usual 122 billion of the bond buying, they may taper down a bit. So that is what people are anticipating, and we are seeing that also on the chart wise. So let's take a look at the next news that we have in here is definitely the news of the earnings that we are seeing this week. Nike, FedEx, Johnson & Johnson, deal. So these are from the US side. So let's look at Nike, NKE, and you can hit that one. All right, and let's take a look at the stock chart. Switching to a wider chart here. So you can see Nike hits a high previously of 138, but since then on the red pentagon, it's really back to the base 126 there in here. So all in all, you can see Nike is still pretty much in the sideways market. And let's look at the dividend, if it does pay any dividend. I think it does too pay dividend in here. So let's look at the stock fundamental, and you can see Vanguard, BlackRock, yeah, very small, 0.81, but the PE is pretty pricey, 59 times, but the ROE is certainly very healthy at 32 times in here. So pretty neutral, in my opinion, on the chart wise. It's not rising. Again, this is one of those considered luxury item. With the Olympics being tapered down, I think the tendency of people in going out and get the new shirt or the new shoes will be also like. Let's take a look at Johnson & Johnson with now the Johnson & Johnson, there was some pullback on the vaccine rollout that we've seen in here. Let's look at Johnson & Johnson, and right now, since the red pentagon on the 170, the market's pulled back to 165 in here. Definitely, if you want to buy, look for the green pentagon that we've seen so far in here. So would it react on the news this week? It'll be interesting to see. Let's look at Johnson & Johnson. Now take note, Johnson & Johnson is one of those pay good dividend. Okay, let's see the stock dividend here. Yes, it pays about a 2.45% in here. 2.5 with a ROE of 23, which is still below the sector average, but the PE is below the slightly also cheaper than the sector average. So all things being equal, you want to have the lower P. So Johnson & Johnson, a player in the vaccine, but having said that, the chart hasn't turned green pentagon yet. All right, hasn't done green pentagon yet, but it remains to be one of the better stock dividend shares in here. Something you want to watch out for this week, right? Of course, if you do want some of those stocks which are in trend, check out the US stocks, which is the Pentagon Guider in the main menu, and there are a few trade ideas that is available out there. All right, okay, now let's look at the past leaderboard for our Pentagon Guider in here. We haven't have some big winners yet because of the our KLCR market pretty much stays stagnant. Even the last 2 weeks peak that we have Padini that we picked on 31st May and Kajaya, which is almost about 3 weeks, continue to move sideways. No doubt the green pentagon is still there and with the blue trend zone. And let me just show you what I mean here. Padini, right? You can see Padini did hit on the 15th of June, and since then we have NS, which is good. Continued support in here. I think this is again based on the market recovery. Baju, just like apparel like Padini and to Nike. We haven't seen Nike started to push up, but that's still well supported right here. You can see around the 290. All high is 320. I think that is where likely you'll see resistance and profit taking. Okay, and the other stock is Kajaya, another construction company. Very similar to after the green pentagon. It will take some time for this market to move up. You can see hit it 27th of May. The market now is about have a line change. Then you have a dividend payout, right, and holding up this level in here. And again, going back to comparison with the KLCI, times like this, you will see a lot of them are going to base support. So patience is important, and if you're just trading the shorter time frame, just within 2 or 3 days, use the premium alert. And if you can get anything less than a white ball, okay, remember we talk about white ball, red ball, and orange ball. So those are the terminology we do it in here as part and parcel of the train investor and train trader, which we want to do in here. Okay, so for those two stocks that we have, and let's move on and two new trade ideas that we have this week. Definitely one of them is Takaful, again another one of those very strong counters, and KPJ, right, which is the healthcare. So let's look at Takaful. So Takaful, nice turn here from $5 went to $4.30, and this is the very similar kind of trade setup that we've seen also for Echo World International. Long period, downtrend, then you got a couple of tests, then the market makes up in here. Definitely, if the market were to continue, it need to take out the 458. So take a look at Takaful. So next week we will come back and check it out here. Next we have is on the list is let me just take a look. Okay, KPJ. So KPJ Healthcare is here, and you can see green pentagon. All right, so green pentagon, nice one in here, and but you have a lot of resistance at the 105. So all right, it will take some time for it to break out. Definitely we want to see volume to come in. If volume doesn't come in, the 105 will be in. But having said that, those are the two green pentagon we have for you this week. Okay, now going forward, of course, we continue to flash our pentagon guider. Just a reminder that we are still trading the market despite what it is so far. So far our returns has been 17% from January to June in here, compared to KLCI on -3%. So that we are pretty decent going forward. So how is your portfolio faring comparing to us, right? I hope that you are doing as well as we do, at least if not a single digit return for the last 6 months, and not losing money. That's very important. This is why we do part and parcel of our train trader and train investor. If not, do seek us out ways we can help you to improve your returns on your portfolio. And it's important year in, year out. What we intend to do in here is to continue to make money despite where the market is, and that's why we turn our attention to the US side. Now last year, remember 2020, we had a very good year, and that was 106% return in here. But right now this year, pretty much sideways movement, but a notable 17% return. It goes up and it comes down too. All right, so hopefully we maintain this as we get down to another 6 more months. So you've been following me, us, you can definitely see this result continue to flash out. Of course, sign of strength, sign of weakness, we continue emphasize on the conceptual map that you see here, line change, right? Like just what we saw for KPJ for the right hand side, and also for the Takaful, all right, shares that we have so far. So of course, this is the QR code. Those of you who are first time listener who want to note how we do our support of sign of strength and sign of weakness, check it out on this video in here. And our August intake is on right now. Those of you who are interested in our masterclass, do check us out in here. And don't forget, this Saturday 9 p.m. we have our special Wyckoff expert from all the way from US, Dr. Gary Dayton, is going to join us and partly explore the US market, S&P 500 from a Wyckoff perspective, together with our launch of our US S&P 500 that you've seen just now shortly in here. And not to forget, this Friday we also touch base on since the market is more of a sideways market, we want to begin this very interesting talk on the dividend portfolio of 5,000 ringgit and a USD of 1,000 US dollars. All right, so check us out on this Wednesday night at 9:30 in here, and we will be using SmartRobie purely for this strategy onwards. And we'll turn our attention right now to our top fans and our top sharer in Facebook in here. And for those of you who have not shared, please go over to Google Play Store and Apple Play Store to give us a review if you have done a good job, and continue to improve our product and services to you, so you are able to gain the best or the most out from the market in here. So right now we will be looking at a couple of stocks that you all have, and let me just check out to the user that we have here so far. Okay, we have here Abu KSSC, which is still okay. KSSC continue to do well here. This one is pretty good. Take out of the uptrust. That one's gonna move inside here. Good trending. Yep, that's right. GOB. Okay, Global Oriental. Yeah, this one from Green Pentagon. This is a big move this morning, 40% in here. But normally when you get 40%, take some profit. Okay, Abul, this one in here. If you can got in here at 30 cents, 40 cents, I think very nice. Learn to take profit as you go up, right? Because very likelihood, every time when you see this kind of big movement, is always distribution. All right. We can come back and check this out later. Okay, let's look at Dufu. Is one of those tech stocks I think will do well. Yes, that's right. You have an uptrust market pullback. A lot of the tech stocks really pull back because of the inflation risk, so they're taking money off from it. But again, trend remain to be up. Again, follow your trading plans. If it's not, just continue to run your profit in there. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the other section in here, whether we have any of our so-called people want me to look at a couple of stocks here. Okay, now take note, the KLSE market continue to be very challenging. It's moving up, moving down, and it's okay to stay out, and that's why we talk about this Wednesday for the stock portfolio dividend. Even in US side, we have seen Dow Jones is already turned downwards and S&P has already turned red pentagon. So we need to be very careful in here. Necessary if you need to take money off the table. Some of you have a longer run, just tighten up your stop. If you have another strategy is to buy at the support, I think that's pretty good too. You just need to wait for the green pentagon. Having said that, so that way we continue to stay ahead of the market. All right, now if I don't have any more stock pick or stock review here that many are saying, we will check out earlier. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for great information and all our archive here, so not to be missed out in here. And don't forget to submit your best stock trade idea from SMARTRobie in here, a real trade, and stand a chance to win the 15 ringgit voucher, as well as the iPad giveaway for the main winner. And do join and share our Telegram chat room for all your colleagues and your friends, so they can also benefit from a trading idea in here. Any more stocks you want me to look up, just pencil in there. I'll be with you and able to review them in here. All being all, I think many of you are quite smart right now. Trade with the trend. Okay, right now, other than a few of the steel stocks, most of them really have very limited trend. Having said that, all right, with that, I'll end our breakfast show in here. I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you and bye bye.